All right, welcome back to Speak for Yourself, presented by Hyundai. Jason Whitlock, Marcellus Wiley, live from our homes in Los Angeles. All right, we're about to be joined by a guy, Rick Bucher. I think he's in the Bay Area. Rick, welcome to the show. Let's get right to it. ESPN polled a bunch of media members, I think 70 media members, on who their NBA MVP is, and like 60 of them said Giannis Antetokounmpo over LeBron James. This shocks the hell out of me. Yeah. Marcellus, we'll start with you. We'll start with Marcellus. Do you think LeBron has made up ground on Giannis? Are you shocked by this poll?
Not shocked at all. I've been saying this from day one that Giannis has such a lead on LeBron, and it was unfortunate that people are really trying to close that distance by not paying careful attention to Giannis, who's having a greater season than he did last year when he won the MVP the first time. So if you don't watch track and field carefully, if you're eating nachos and talking to the kids and then watch a long distance race, you know what you will see? Sometimes runners are this close to each other, but the one in the back actually lapped the other one already, so they're not on the same lap. LeBron had a great weekend before the coronavirus hit, and everyone started getting into their poetry and English lit and all the love that they have and all of the little asterisks that they kept putting into this conversation to close that gap. I'm glad that at least these anonymous media members went out there and cleared up the air.
I can only tell you that I'm not one of the 70 that they talked to, because I had, as of right now, LeBron James being the MVP of the league. And to Marcellus's point, when you look at races, we have to look at where the starting point was. And the starting point being, this Lakers team wasn't supposed to be the best team in the Western Conference by any stretch. And yet they are by a long shot. And they're only 3 games back of overall records against the Milwaukee Bucks. It comes down to how you define MVP. And for me, it's part of it is the most indispensable. I've seen the Milwaukee Bucks perform and be successful without Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Lakers simply are a completely different team without LeBron James. They can't get what he gives them from any place else. And when I look at what he's accomplished with this group, he's my most valuable player. And by the way, the whole idea of Giannis having a better year than last year, Steve Nash's best year was the year that he didn't win MVP because they didn't want to give it to him 3 times in a row. So I don't know that I'm going to look at it as a carryover from one year to the next.
Rick,
I have a problem with that, Rick, just because.
Say amen. Oh, hold on, Marcel. Let the church say amen. Rick took us to church.
I ain't going to church.
Preached a hell of a sermon. I just caught the holy basketball ghost because, listen, I'm allegedly a LeBron critic, and sometimes I am. But the man is the MVP, Marcellus. I don't know what you're watching. And yes, I watch sporting events while overeating on nachos, hot dogs, and whatever else I can get my hands on. But I know what an MVP looks like, and it's LeBron James this year. And the reason why is because Giannis got exposed in last year's playoffs. What he does in the regular season doesn't translate to the highest level of competition in the NBA. We saw it in that All-Star game in the fourth quarter when those guys played playoffs level basketball and they shut Giannis down. Giannis is a great regular season player. LeBron is an MVP, a most valuable player. Give the man his just rewards. These 60 people that won't jump off Giannis are crazy. Now the floor is yours, Marcellus.
Wow, you really should have let me interrupt you so you could have saved yourself from all those points that you just gave me more ammo. You guys keep using last year for this year's MVP, which is absurd. Or more absurd is the fact that you use an exhibition game called the All-Star game as more evidence who's the MVP. And then Slick Rick the Bucher, I love you so much, but man, you're smarter than that to sit there and say, in absence, you prove how valuable you are to a team. Because if that's the case, then Kevin Durant is this year's MVP for leaving the Warriors. Or Steph Curry for just getting hurt this year is the MVP, because that's the sorriest team I've ever seen, despite having great players from a high and then the absence of those guys and now the low. This is not about starting points. This is not about expectations. You take Devin Booker off the Suns. Is he the MVP? We're not having that conversation. We're having a conversation who's playing the best basketball. And LeBron is sharing that experience with Anthony Davis, who some people, even in the building, say Anthony Davis is the driving force of the Lakers this year, as LeBron has deferred.
Is this Clipper Darrell or a co-host to speak for yourself talking right now?
I'm just trying to bring some objectivity to this conversation, because I am not a fan of people coming into conversations and starting to bring other attributes and qualifiers. No one wants to hear, hey, Jason Whitlock, you're a handsome man for a guy over 50 who's from Indiana, who lives in the Wilshire Corridor. Like, who wants to hear all that? That's what y'all doing to LeBron. He's playing great for a 35-year-old in his 17th season for the Lakers. I don't want to hear that.
Hold on, but you're saying that Giannis should get it because he's playing even better statistically than he did last year. How is that not bringing in outside elements beyond what a guy's doing right now? And what you demonstrated is we're operating on different definitions of most valuable player. You're saying best player in the game right now. That, to me, is not necessarily
Rick,
most valuable. We're
going to call you tomorrow and let you keep going. But we got to get out of here. Uncle Jimmy's going to kill me. I got to save a little time for Uncle Jimmy, Rick. We're done, Rick.
MVP threshold.
We got to go. Speak for yourself. Uncle Jimmy and our approval rating.